Hello and welcome to Picture Astrology. This is a subject about which I wanted to make detailed videos for a long time, and I was today reminded about it when somebody put a question in my video about Jupiter's position in Capricorn sign for Taurus ascendant. So as you can see, for Taurus ascendant, when Jupiter is placed in Capricorn, or in general when Jupiter is in Capricorn, Jupiter becomes debilitated, and there are many benefic aspects of this debilitated Jupiter in 9th house for Taurus ascendant. That is, although debilitated, it gives many positive results. In all my videos about any of the planetary positions like this, they all are based on practical experiences. They are not just based on theoretical knowledge. And therefore, many people have corroborated most of the things which are described in such planetary positions videos. However, when those effects are realized, there is a great deal of confusion about them. And in this video, let me clarify one of the most important one about Dashas and MahaDashas. So the video I was talking about was in regards to Jupiter's position in the 9th house, which is in the sign of Capricorn, for a Taurus ascendant. And when Jupiter is placed here, you see it aspects the first house, which is the all-important ascendant. Although the ascendant sign is Taurus, which is not such a friendly sign of Jupiter. It also aspects its exalted sign of Cancer in the 3rd house, and it at the same time aspects the 5th house where Virgo sign is present, which is one of the highly intellectual signs, and Jupiter aspect here is generally favorable. And not just that, Jupiter is anyways lord of the 8th house as well as the lord of 11th house. So just one position of Jupiter has tremendous amount of impact, and this impact shows up at different stages of your life. And one key factor to note is that when any planet is positioned in a particular house that you can call as planet position, when I make the video, it actually gives the general implication of that position in your life. That is, in your lifetime, what good or bad things that planet is going to impart to you. But those effects are observed during its MahaDasha, its Antar Dasha or Pratyantar Dasha. MahaDasha is the main period, which is the longest period a planet rules. Antar Dasha is the sub-period, and Pratyantar would be sub-period. And in this video, I'll just go into these 3 levels. As well as there are certain effects which are observed during the transit of the planet. So there are multiple levels at which a planet gives result. Now, in general speaking, this position of Jupiter in Capricorn is known to give many positives in life. It gives many good things in life. But the MahaDasha of planet, generally the biggest time period which a planet rules, in general does not give those effects. This might seem counterintuitive to many people, but you can observe it in your charts and in hundreds of charts, that the planetary position and the MahaDasha may not always match. And the reason is, when the MahaDasha, the biggest time period, is operating of the planet, at that time you don't get the result of planetary position. There are so many other aspects of this Jupiter, some of which we just saw, that it aspects these 3 houses, it rules these 2 houses. It might be in conjunction with many other planets, or in this case, just for a example, I said, okay, Jupiter might be aspecting Sun in the 1st house. and so on and so forth. And we are not currently going into divisional charts, because in divisional charts it can be affected by many other factors. But in general, the most important thing to know is the effects of planetary positions are in most cases not observed during MahaDasha. Typically it is the Antar Dasha or Subperiod where a planet gives its most potent effects. For an example, there is a general saying which is also very true in case of Saturn and Venus, these two planets, that Saturn and Venus, they do not give their full effect in their own time periods, but instead Saturn will give its most potent effect during Venus-Saturn time, and Venus will give its most potent effect during Saturn-Venus time. This is just one of those rules. Similarly, the effects of Pratyantar Dasha, which is the third level Dasha. Now, when it comes to say planets whose main Dasha or MahaDasha runs for very long time, in this case Jupiter's Dasha runs for 16 years. So, the time period of third level Dasha will be within, in most cases, around year or at least few months. So from the prediction point of view, the bare minimum we need to know is MahaDasha and Antardasha. And then, because these two together will at least give interpretation till within a year's range. And then Pratyantar Dasha would put into few months range. And as I said, the effects of all these three sub-periods, the main period, the sub-period and the sub-sub-periods, can vary. And in fact, they do vary. There are very few positions where a planet will give excellent results in all the three periods of its dominance. And the reason is, there are twofold reason. One, the planet obviously has to work with other planets. Like in this case, Venus and Saturn are such a friendly planet that it is like more than 70% cases correct to assume that Saturn's biggest effect will be under Venus main period. Similarly, Venus's biggest effect will be under Saturn's main period, which will be both, good or bad effects. But there are few positions in which you can say that, okay, planets MahaDasha, Antardasha and Pratyantar, all three are going to be beneficial. But obviously, those cases are less. Now, in this particular case, when Jupiter is debilitated in the Capricorn sign, you can definitely say that Saturn-Jupiter time period will be very good. But that is Jupiter's sub-periods. How will be Saturn's MahaDasha? How will be the beginning of 16 years of MahaDasha? How will be the later half of 16 MahaDasha? Or is there any particular sub-periods like Jupiter-Mars? Is that going to be great? Those have dependency, one on the chart placement for sure, which can be understood when the chart is looked at or analyzed. And also there are certain general rules like Venus-Saturn, Saturn-Venus I talked about. So it's very important to know. Many people think that, okay, I have this great position of so-and-so planet, its MahaDasha is going to run, I'll have wonderful time for next 16 years, 20 years, whatnot. Recently I have seen many horoscopes somehow about Venus time period, whereas Venus is such a, fantastically placed, very strong in chart, benefic, and when the Venus Dasha is starting, it just not going the way people thought it will, or suddenly in the middle of the Dasha people are thinking, oh my god, what happened? So there are, as I said, there are specific cases depending upon the chart, but there are also very many general rules. And when I say general, those are applicable in more than 70% cases, like this Venus-Saturn, Saturn-Venus. And a lot of them are related to Venus especially. So what I'll do is I'll continue to give more examples of this planetary position versus Dasha, Antardasha and Pratyantar Dasha. And in my next video, I will talk about one of the most enigmatic case which is seen with the planet Venus. So thank you friends. I hope you found this video useful. Please check out the links below and check out our website. Thanks a lot.